Nella, De Leon, Fuller, Gaines, Galgiani, Glazer, Hall, Hancock, Hernandez, Hertzberg, Hill, Hueso, Huff, Jackson, Lada, Leno, Leyva, Liu, McGuire, Mendoza, Mitchell, Monning, Morlock, Morrell, Wynn, Nielsen, Pan, Pavley, Roth, Runner, Stone, Vidak, Wykowski, Wolk.
Secretary notices an absence of a quorum. Members, please come to the Senate floor. Members are still absent a quorum. If the senators could please come to the Senate floor. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen, Anderson, Bates, Bell, Berryhill, Block, Cannella, De Leon, Fuller, Gaines, Galgiani, Glazer, Hall, Hancock, Hernandez, Hertzberg, Hill, Hueso, Huff, Jackson, Lada, Leno, Leyva, Liu, McGuire, Mendoza, Mitchell, Monning, Morlock, Morrell, Wynn, Nilsson, Pan, Pavley, Roth, Runner, Stone, Vidak, Wykowski, Wolk.
Our quorum is present. Would the members and our guests beyond the rail and in the gallery please rise? We will be led in prayer this morning by our guest chaplain, the Most Reverend Jamie Soto, Bishop of Sacramento, after which please remain standing. We will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag by Senator Wykowski.
Just to beg your indulgence, this prayer this morning is one from the Holy Father's encyclical on the environment, Laudato Si', and it's a prayer that he intended to he crafted so that all people of faith could pray together. So let us pray. All-powerful God, you are present in the whole universe and in the smallest of your creatures. You embrace with your tenderness all that exists. Pour out upon us the power of your love that we may protect life and beauty. Fill us with peace that we may live as brothers and sisters, harming no one. O God of the poor, help us to rescue the abandoned and forgotten of this earth, so precious in your eyes. Bring healing to our lives that we may protect the world and not prey on it, that we may sow beauty, not pollution and destruction. Touch the hearts of those who look only for gain at the expense of the poor and the earth. Teach us to discover the worth of each thing and to be filled with awe and contemplation, to recognize that we are profoundly united with every creature as we journey towards your infinite light. We thank you for being with us each day. Encourage us, we pray, in our struggle for justice, love, and peace. Amen.
Members, under privileges of the floor. Senator Stone.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, members. It's always a thrill when you have constituents that come in from your district and give them a wonderful tour of this beautiful building, especially if they've never been here before. And I'm very proud to have a couple of my constituents that I had the opportunity as a county supervisor to officiate at their wedding. So I would urge all the members to please welcome some constituents from Riverside County, my dear friends Sue and Harvey Lippert in the back of the room. Sue and Harvey, if you'll stand up and wave at the Senate, we welcome you here. Nice to have you here.
Welcome to the Senate. Thank you, Senator Stone. Under privileges of the floor, Senator Hernandez.
Thank you, Mr. President. For purposes of introduction, I also have some guests with me here in the back of the chamber. If we can have them stand. These are some young adults who are going to be dedicating their life to providing care to the most vulnerable population, and that population is the Latino population. These are first-year and second-year medical students at UC Irvine School of Medicine. They're in the PRIME program, and the PRIME stands for Program for Medical Education for the Latino Community. One of the requirements is that they all have to be proficient, and they are even taught in Spanish, and they have to make a commitment to go back to predominantly Latino communities. These are students that are dedicated. It's a 5-year medical program that includes, I think, if I'm not correct, their residency, part of their residency program, but it has an emphasis on primary care, but more importantly, the Latino community. So let's congratulate them and welcome to the California State Senate.
Thank you so much, Senator Hernandez. Members, any other privileges of the floor? Okay, seeing none. Messages from the governor will be deemed read. Messages from the assembly will be deemed read. Reports of committee will be deemed read and amendments adopted. Under motions, resolutions, and notices, pursuant to Senate Rule 2910, following bills are referred to the Rules Committee. Item 195, AB 232, Item 181, AB 1505, and Item 180, AB 1507. Without objection, measures reported from Policy Committee with the recommendation do pass as amended and re-refer to appropriations will be given their second reading upon being reported. Without objection, the Senate journals for July 13th through July 16th, 2015 will be approved as corrected by the minute clerk. Senator Morell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, I would like to pull AB 410, Obernolte, from the consent calendar at the request of the author. Thank you.
The desk will note. Thank you. And under privileges of the floor, I believe Senator Nielsen had an introduction.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, if you would allow me, I'd like to introduce 3 interns who are working with me this summer. We've always had the policy of having a lot of interns. One who interned for me later became the Chief Justice of the California Supreme Court. Now, that doesn't say anything particularly about me. It says a lot about her. But that said, I think we all have found how valuable interns are. This summer, Coulibaly Datuliban Roland is working with me. Roland was born in the Ivory Coast in Africa, came to the United States as an international student at West Hills College in Coalinga. And yes, there is such a town as Coalinga down in the valley. We valley folks know where it is. And it never did have very good water to drink. It's better now. He then transferred to the university that Senator Pavley and I attended, Fresno State University. He then received his bachelor's of science in civil engineering and another one in mathematics. He is a quite accomplished fellow. And then he went into the Army National Guard. He's a member of the Society of Civil Engineers and hopes to become an experienced engineer. He's one of those what you would call a whiz kid, a young man with a great future. Luke Kozlowski also is working with us at this end of the district, out of the Roseville office. He's a graduate of Jesuit High School in the district that I represent. He then graduated from Santa Clara University, one of our finest universities. He started out wanting to be, like Coulibaly, a civil engineer. I think he went 3 years into that major, and then he decided that really wasn't where his heart was. And I admire him for changing gears, because it's a great investment to put that much into the civil engineering degree and then change. What did he change to? Political science. He found out that his heart was with political science, and that he wanted to make a difference in the arena where we are. Now, I don't know that he'll ever want to run for higher office or a office, but I surely hope he would, and he's more than capable of doing that. he has received awards for analyzing the Dayton Accords. So he's already got himself trained kind of at the high level in analyses and discernment. Luke Kozlowski. And finally, Christian Tupon. Can't miss Christian. He is a resident of the 4th Senate District. He went to Grant High School, was a star football player there, and then starred 4 years at the University of Southern California as a lineman, nose guard mostly. Got his bachelor's in political science in '09 and a master in communication management 2 years later. He was on a 4-year scholarship, full scholarship through his years at USC. And he competed at the highest level in athletics while attaining of the highest academic standards as well. And now he's played for 2 other teams, but right now, I believe it's next week or the week after, he heads off to the the Cleveland Browns camp. So he will be, I think this will be now his 4th year playing professional football. So would you please acknowledge these 3 fine young men, all with a great future, and all who have benefited from their being here in this institution that we are all so honored to serve in.
Thank you, Senator Nielsen, and the great interns that have served in your office. Senator Hall, for what purpose do you rise?
Yes, Mr. President, Senators request to remove file item 202, AB 364 from the consent calendar and move it to the inactive file.
Great, thank you. The desk will note. Senator Allen, for what purpose do you rise?
Well, Mr. President, I just wanted to very briefly acknowledge a wonderful intern. We heard about the power and importance of interns. So many of us interned either here in Washington when we were younger. And I'd like to just acknowledge my intern, Tyler Boltz, who's here. He's from Boulder, Colorado, and he studies at Trinity University. And he's here as part of the Comcast Equality California internship program. And as you know, there's a number of students who've been placed in offices around the building here, and Tyler's been a great asset to our team this summer. So I just wanted to say thank you to Tyler Boltz and acknowledge him on the floor today.
Great. Thank you for your efforts. Thank you, Senator Allen. Senator Hill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under motions and resolutions,
Yes.
please remove file item 201, AB 506, Mainshine, from consent at the request of the author for purposes of an amendment.
Great. Thank you. The desk will note. Senator Waso.
President, under motions and resolution, per the request of the author, please remove file item 215, AB 1119, from the consent calendar.
Great. Thank you. The desk will note. Senator Monning, for what purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. Under motions and resolutions,
Yes.
a request of the author, Speaker Atkins, to please remove AB 226, item number 207, from the consent calendar.
The desk will
Thank
note.
you.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no further. Oh, Senator Mitchell.
Under motions and resolutions, Mr. President, I'd like to remove item 204, AB 1097, Holden, from the consent calendar, please.
Great, thank you. The desk will note. Members, any other items under privileges of the floor? Okay, we're going to move forward then to consideration of the daily file. Second reading file. Secretary, please read.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 79 with amendments, Assembly Bill 313, 902, 939, Assembly Joint Resolution 18, Assembly Bill 644 with amendments.
Second reading file will be deemed read. We'll now move forward to governor's appointments. That would be file item 51. Senator De Leon. Under governor's appointments, file item 51.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, we have two appointments. File item number 51, Connie Gibson and Deborah Heisen. Connie Gibson is the Associate Director for the Division of Adult Institutions, the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. Deborah Heisen is Director of Facility Planning, Construction, and Management, also of the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. These appointees were heard on July 1st and passed on a bipartisan vote. No opposition, 5-0. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Great, thank you. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Aye. Anderson. Bates. Bell. Aye. Berryhill. Block. Aye. Canella. De Leon. Aye. Fuller. Gaines. Galgiani. Aye. Glazer. Aye. Hall. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Hertzberg. Aye. Hill. Aye. Wessel. Aye. Huff. Jackson. Aye. Lada. Aye. Leno. Aye. Leba. Aye. Liu. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. Aye. Mitchell. Aye. Monning. Aye. Morlock. Aye. Morrell. Aye. Wynn. Aye. Nilsson. Pan. Pavley. Aye. Roth. Aye. Runner. Stone. Aye. Vidak. Aye. Wykowski. Aye. Wolk. Anderson, aye.
Secretary, please call the absent members.
Wolk, aye. Bates. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Canella. Fuller. Gaines. Huff. Liu. Aye. Nilsson. Pan. Aye. Runner.
Ayes 34, noes 0. The appointments are confirmed. Governor's appointments, file item 52. Senator De Leon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Felicia Marcus, Chair of the Water Resources Control Board. This appointment was heard also on July 1st, approved on a 4-0 vote, no opposition. She has served on the board since 2012, and prior to her appointment, she served as the Western Director of the Natural Resources Defense Council and has over 30 years of combined professional experience. As we know, we're entering the worst drought in the history of the state of California, a consecutive record 4th year. It doesn't seem like it's going to get any better sometime soon.
Great, thank
so obviously we need folks with the deep experience that Ms. Marcus has at the helm to move forward on the regulatory side with regards to their drought. With that, I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator De Leon. Any debate or discussion? Senator Nielsen.
Madam President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I'd like to tell you a little bit of my experiences with Felicia Marcus, the chair. I have found her to be a very responsive leader of the organization. I found her to be responsive to some of the thoughts and hopes and ideas that I believe in my heart, and this is the kind of a entity and issue and the kind of people that are really fundamental in my life, because I've spent my whole life dealing with water and water issues. And this board really has our lives in their hands. In their hands because of legislation, and I call it unfortunately, that the legislature last year in the drought legislation and even earlier this year have given to the board. They didn't beg for it, the legislature gave it to them. But it gave them near dictatorial control over our surface water. And that's likewise now ensuing related to groundwater too, so the state really controls what has historically in groundwater been a private property right. That's now compromised. And all the lands in California is devalued because of it. Now the markets haven't got that yet. In addition, the board has usurped even pre-1914 water rights as well as senior. Now, Chair Marcus last year announcing that they were going to try to protect those rights, and I know that she was being sincere, but she did have to reference the state legislation that gave them the power to usurp that if they felt the need, based on the demands on water and the ravages of the drought. Over the time that she has served, I've had a number of meetings with them, and I've been very graciously received by the board when I've gone several times to testify before the board. And I found the board members to be attentive. All that said, I would want to be able to get to be a yes on this confirmation, but I cannot. This is one that I have to weigh related to the magnitude of the powers accorded that board now, and how those powers, as exercised, have now compromised historic water rights. You can't have such things as water rights pre-1914 and senior water rights. There are a lot of different kinds of water rights, but that's a covenant of government with its citizens. And if government can violate its side of the deal and disregard those rights, and by the way, totally ignore area of origin water rights, which are in the bond, Prop 2, and are in the statute from 2009, and nobody even is talking about area of origin water rights being protected. Now, I put in a call to Chair Marcus, and she's traveling right now, so I could not talk to her. But I wanted to inform her in advance that it's not possible for me to get to yes on this confirmation because of the impact the decisions have had of that board on the people that I represent, and in fact, the core values that I represent. It is my intent, I hold no grudges with the chair, and again, I will honor that the powers that they were accorded were done by the legislature over my meager protestations, but nonetheless, I will commit to work with her as I can in the future. I hope and I am sure, based on my knowing of her, and I think the trust that she has in me, that that will remain an amicable relationship. But let me say in closing, we must be careful, legislators, by giving the authorities and powers to the agency as governed as we have to the Air Board, certainly to the Water Board, because they have control over the lives of the people that we represent. And other than in a confirmation, they really don't have any accountability to the legislature. And keep that in mind. I will just tell you that I, like Felicia Marcus, I do and always will respect her. But I have to say, in this particular case, I respect our water rights more.
Thank you, Senator Nielsen. Members, any further debate or discussion? Senator Pavley.
Rise in strong support of Felicia Marcus. I've known her for years, and she is one of the most hardworking, brightest individuals I've ever met. And California's lucky to have her as president of the State Water Board. She's accessible, she's informed, she listens to all sides. She's really doing what she thinks is right in a stakeholder approach in order to manage this drought. She's the right person at the right time to be in this place. Ask for your vote.
Thank you, Senator Pavley. Members, any further debate or discussion? Seeing none, Senator De Leon, would you like to close?
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you, colleagues, for the dialogue and the debate. Obviously, we respect divergent perspectives. We do believe that she's very well qualified to be at the helm of the Water Board to help, let's say help, lead us during this historic drought. Obviously, it's the legislative branch working in collaboration with the executive branch. But with that, I simply ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator De Leon. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen? Aye. Anderson? No. Bates? Bell? Aye. Berryhill? Block? Cannella? De Leon? I. Fuller, I. Gaines, Galgiani, I. Glazer, I. Hall, I. Hancock, I. Hernandez, I. Hertzberg, I. Hill, I. Weso, I. Huff, Jackson, I. Lada, I. Leno, I. Leva, I. Liu, I. McGuire, I. Mendoza, Mitchell, Monning, I. Morlock, no. Morrell, no. Wynn, no. Nielsen, Pan, I. Pavley, I. Roth, I. Runner, Stone, no. Vidak, no. Wykowski, I. Wolk, aye.
Secretary, please call the absent members.
Bates, no. Berryhill, Block, Cannella, Gaines, no. Huff, Mendoza, I. Mitchell, Nilsson, no. Runner, no.
Ayes 25, noes 10. The governor's appointment is confirmed. Members, we're now going to move to file item 56, Senator Galgiani